Hey guys, this is Miss Momo. Welcome back to another Sunday edition of Kitchen Talk. Hey guys, this is Miss Momo, and I am going to go over a couple of things that I really think are going to help you land the interview. Every time I go on an interview, there seems to be 5 questions that just keep popping up. No matter if I'm interviewing for middle school, no matter if I'm interviewing for high school, it doesn't matter. I seem to get the same 5 questions, so I'm going to tell you what those questions are and how to answer the questions so you can ace the interview and land the job. And just to keep you in the loop, I am looking down at my teacher planner because in my teacher planner I have my notes. I want to make sure I cover everything that's really important so that you can use this video as a reference before you head off and you ace your job interview. All right, question number 1 that I seem to get very frequently is, how are you going to keep your class engaged? That's right. Everyone knows that students are easily bored, their attention span always left, right. How are you going to keep them engaged? So let me preface this by saying I've only ever taught middle and high school. I did student teaching in elementary school. It was so long ago, I can't really say I'm expertise. I know anything about elementary school, so I am going to focus all of my answers with what I know, and that's secondary. So how do you answer? How do you keep your kids engaged? But I will promise students and I will promise administrators that at least once a week they will have a hands-on engaging activity. In my class, I call a lot of activities labs that are not really true wet labs. So when they ask me a question, how do you keep your kids engaged? I'll let them know. We will do one engaging hands-on activity a week. It gives kids something to look forward to. They know at least once a week when they come to Miss Moore's class that we are going to do something that hands-on and something that's really fun. Sometimes it's a complete lab where you have mixing mixtures, or you might have a dissecting lab. Sometimes it's something very simple where we're doing an activity and I'm using M&Ms to demonstrate Bohr models. I don't know, but at least once a week I can promise that the kids will do one hands-on engaging activity. So for you non-science teachers, how can I incorporate a hands-on engaging activity? I would tell during the interview, you would incorporate something like No Paper Wednesdays. So the kids know every Wednesday they're not doing worksheets. They're going to do something that's more kinesthetic for them. It doesn't have to be anything big, but if you go in the interview and you can promise that at least one day a week the kids are not copying notes in their notebook, if they're not doing anything that has to do with paper, it seems like a bigger idea than what it really is. So how do I answer the question, how do you keep kids engaged? I would go with the 1 or 2, depending on what you're teaching. Science, say you'll do 1 lab per week, keeps the kids engaged in class. It keeps them just looking forward to what's going to happen. It doesn't have to be the same day of the week. You can switch it up. So, you know, kids, they're smart. They can figure out every Monday when we come back, we're going to have this activity. And so I can kind of check out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But you can change it. One day it's Monday, another day it's Wednesday, another day it's Friday. Just know that one day a week, you're going to do something that's really, really fun. And if you're not a science teacher, you can say no paper Wednesday, no paper Monday, no paper Thursday. Question number 2 that I get a lot is, take me through a typical day. If I'm an administrator and I walk through your classroom and I'm there from the very beginning to the very end, tell me what would your day look like. I like this question because they're trying to see how you structure a lesson, and this is where you can really sell them and let them know that you know how to get kids engaged from the moment they get in class and figure out what they know through your closure at the very end of class. So this is what I usually say. I start the lesson off with a warm-up. Kids come into the room, I build a routine. They know when they come in, they grab their things, they sit down and they do the warm-up. After the warm-up is over, if it's a new lesson, I give instruction for approximately 10 minutes. And then I have students do some sort of group practice. So the group practice could be table group practice, it could be whole class practice, but some type of practice. And then kids have to work through their lesson individually. It's kind of being framed by the I do, we do, you do. So I do something and then we do it together as a practice, and then students have to do it individually. And after that is over and the kids do their individual practice, we'll come back together, we'll go over any misconceptions. If kids are doing it individually, I always like to end class with me going over the answers so students can check the work. And after that is over, we end class always with closure. So at the beginning of the year, I'm really strict with closures, and my closures are usually exit tickets, like you have to give me something before you can walk out the door. But as the year progresses and we are more familiar with each other, you kind of have to change things up, and then my closures might be a thumbs up, might be a thumbs down. I've actually had cahoots before as closures. So what this question is really getting to is, how do you structure your lesson? You always have to have an activity waiting for kids as they enter. You go through your lesson, you are leading for a minute, and then you give the kids opportunity to work amongst themselves, and then you give them a chance to do independent practice, and then you come back together, you wrap it up, and you do a closure. Third question that I get a lot is, how do you deal with students that need intervention, and how do you deal with students that need enrichment? And I had this question, I actually had questions 1, 2, and 3 in my last interview that I had last week. So what I usually say is, I try to embed intervention and enrichment in the class day as much as possible. Getting students to stay after school is really like pulling teeth, and I really think it's more effective and it's more powerful if I can just intervene and enrich the kids during the school day. What I usually do for intervention is I will have my warm-up address an issue from the day before. So if you had your closure and you noticed that 50% of your class got the closure wrong, or they had a misconception, then that's an opportunity for you to kind of go over the information that was a little misplaced the day before by doing a warm-up. Now the warm-up should not be the same question as the closure yesterday. It can be, but you can kind of switch it up a little bit. But you just go over it, and so those who got it wrong the day before know that they got it wrong, but you can give them a quick explanation of what the right answer and why this is the right answer. This is good because, one, it doesn't single anybody out. It's a whole class activity, and kids don't even know that they're being intervened if you do it as a warm-up. For enrichment, what I will do is, during the we practice of the lesson, this is your opportunity to go to those students that have already mastered or have already figured out their learning target for the day. That is your opportunity to give them something a little different to do. So what I have done in the past, when it's time for kids to do their individual work, I'll pass things out and I'll whisper to a student and say, your paper looks slightly different than someone else, but I did that on purpose. And so that means the work that I sit in front of you is for you. It's not for you to compare to the person next to you. I've done that with intervention work, and I've done that with enrichment work. So I'm giving students what they need during the class day. They don't have to worry about getting a ride after school or staying. And another thing that I do is on Fridays, at least in my district, that's our assessment day. So our assessments are very short in the district, 5 questions. It doesn't take up an entire day. So what I do is I will make that the intervention/enrichment day. So if I have students that still, by the time we get to Friday, need a little more intervention, or those students who have moved from the intervention to the enrichment, on Fridays, after we take the assessment, I would generally have 25 minutes of class, and then I would group them. And if an administrator came in, they would see this table grouped, and they would do a specific activity. they will go over to a different table, and they're grouped on purpose a certain way, and they will have another activity. And then you might have a third group that's grouped a certain way on purpose, and they will have another activity. So based on their grouping and the activity, they are probably doing some sort of intervention or doing some sort of enrichment. Question number 4 is another question that I get very frequently is, what clubs or sports are you willing to sponsor or coach? And I have zero knowledge about sports. I am not a sports person. I never played sports in school. So don't look to me to coach anything. I know I'm tall, I'm 5'10". Don't ask me to be a girls basketball coach. Don't ask me to do anything like that, because I will be absolutely no good at it. But what I can do, and what I said in the past interview, is I'm passionate about science, so I've always sponsored the science club or a science fair. So what administrators and who's ever on the interview team, what they're really looking for is a teacher who is willing to be a little more invested in the students. And how do you become invested in the students? You spend more time with them, you build relationships, and a great way to do that during the school year is to sponsor an activity or coach the students. So you're building a relationship with them outside of the traditional school day. Another question that I get asked a lot, or I'm sure happens a lot during interviews, is why do you want to work here? You know, there's a lot of reasons why people apply to schools, and it could be because you need a job, you're trying to get your foot into the district, but that is never an answer you want to say. So the moment that you learn something about the school that you're going to be interviewing with, you could be in the car and you just found out that the interview you're going to do is for blank and blank high school. First thing you do, you Google them or you pull up the website, and usually they put their successes flashing on the screen. So if the success is they just won the district PLC award, perfect, you're going to use that. Or if you see that the kids just won the track and field district award, fine, I want you to use that. So how do you answer the question is, I am really trying to be a part of an award-winning PLC team. I want to work here because I know that you guys are at the forefront of PLCs. I want to work here because I want to be a part of a team that is building students up socially and academically, because I've noticed that the kids have won district awards in track and field. And I know when kids are successful outside of school and sports, it helps them inside of the classroom. Something to that effect. So just be prepared to answer the question, why do you want to work here? It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It doesn't have to be, don't try to remember the mission statement. Don't try, just look at the website, see what they put forth as their success, and just tie it into why you think you'll be a good fit for the school. And there you have it. Those are my 5 suggestions for answering interview questions that keep popping up as you go on an interview. If you have anything you want to add, please leave comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. If there's an interview question that I did not put forth, but you have been asked at an interview, please let us know, because if we can help each other, then we can all be successful. Until next time, this is Miss Momo. I'm out. If you really like this kitchen talk vlog series, let me know. I want to hear your thoughts. If you have a topic you want me to talk about on Sundays, let me know. Until next time, bye.